While I'm certainly not a games journalist of any kind, I do want to talk today about the PlayStation 5 reveal event, the whole PlayStation 5 event from the other day, which I'm sure some of you saw, and if you didn't see it, I'm sure you already saw the highlights that you care about. So, really, my goal with this is to talk to you about what I care about, my thoughts from the event, and just sort of what I'm seeing going forward that's exciting about PlayStation. I do want to say my goal in this video is not to simp for PlayStation as a brand. I think they're awesome. I also enjoy Xbox, and I have a PC. I don't really have a horse in the console wars race. I've always thought anybody who took part in it unironically is kind of an idiot. So with that out of the way, I just want to talk about what's exciting about PlayStation going forward. The first thing I do want to say is that the design of the console itself, don't worry, this part will be brief. It is cool. I find it weird how it's multiple colors now, but it is something totally different. I think that's nice to see. I don't really like it standing up. It looks very Alienware to me. I mean, it's neat, but I don't think I would display mine that way. I guess it reminds me of either a really small Alienware computer that some I don't know, really not serious streamer would have, or perhaps a Roku box, that kind of thing, or a really weird internet modem that your grandma would have set up at her house for her Wi-Fi. It just looks off to me. I'm not really a big fan of that. I prefer it sitting on its side. There has been information that sitting on its side, this console will still work. So I'm excited about that. I think the design itself is cool. I don't really know why anyone would go for the digital only version. I know that we've hit the point where a lot of people have moved away from discs. I'm not one of those people. I'm a boomer. I get it. I collect video games too. But that doesn't really make any sense to me still. I would say even if it's cheaper, it's worth it to just spring for the ability to get discs. I mean, you can borrow games from your friends that way. You can save money. You can buy games secondhand if you want to. There's a lot more opportunities on this console without going with that digital edition. We don't know the price yet. We have seen the controller. I'm a little conflicted on it. It's somewhere between PlayStation and Xbox, but I have chronic pain problems. So as someone who sometimes the PlayStation controller actually bothers my hands more than the Xbox One controller, again, niche group here. So this is not going to apply to everybody. I actually like that this design looks a little bigger. I have Shaquille O'Neal level hands. I can palm basketballs. That's not a humble brag. So I'm hoping that this helps me. In terms of looking at games, I think that the one that's most exciting for me is not actually going to be the most exciting for everybody else, and I didn't even talk about it in its own video because of that, because it's a niche game. That's the Demon's Souls remake, remaster, whatever you want to call this. It seems like it's just a remake from the ground up. There is not a ton of information out about this game yet. It looks like it includes all of the original areas. We've seen a lot of things from the Dragon God to all these different areas. I am hoping in this game, though, that we get to see some of the cut content from before. When we got the Dark Souls remasters, they didn't really add that stuff back in at all. It just kind of stayed gone. So my hope with this is that we get Demon's Souls working on modern tech, working well with some of the cut content. I don't know if that's reasonable or going to happen. I think that's kind of what you should do, though, at this point when you're doing a remake. You add stuff in, or you revamp a little bit to modernize the game. I think that's something like I was going to say Silent Hill. What am I doing? I think something like Final Fantasy VII Remake did that extremely well. So I'm excited to see that. I do also want to mention a couple other games here. Ratchet and Clank is getting a new game, Rift Apart. I haven't played a Ratchet and Clank game in a while. The last ones that I really took fully seriously, and this is on me, were the ones back on PS2. I mean, the original, obviously Up Your Arsenal, Going Commando, those were all fantastic. I played the hell out of Ratchet Deadlocked, even though that's a bit of a black sheep of the family. Love that game. Size Matters I played. So I actually want to go back and play some old Ratchet games. This looks really interesting. We were shown a very E3-like set of moments in this, though, but at the end they do reveal a character that furries everywhere are going to fantasize over, and hey, you do you. While I'm out here simping for Jill Valentine, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, all these characters, you got a new Ratchet and Clank character. I'm going to give you a round of applause because you deserve it. You don't get enough. Sonic the Hedgehog's not doing it for you anymore, and it's really frustrating, and I understand how that feels. Got some furry friends. I'm not one, but maybe I can make honorary furry for the mention in this video. Can I do that? Someone grant me that status, please. Moving on from this, there's also Pragmata. I don't know what to make of this game. I got very Death Stranding vibes from this, like Death Stranding mixed with Dead Space, mixed with Final Fantasy type vibes going on. It's really weird. It looks very even Blade Runner-esque, and like something that I'm going to enjoy just because it's so weird. I was expecting to see Hideo Kojima's name attached to this, but obviously it's not. That's something that I'm definitely looking forward to, kind of despite whatever type of game this ends up being fully, because I don't really know. But I'm excited for that as well. And I think it's something that's worth checking out if you think that the footage shown here, which I'm trying to show without getting claimed from the trailer, is cool. I also was a fan of the Resident Evil 8 announcement, which is Resident Evil Village. If you know me, you know that I'm sort of a weird fan of this franchise. I'm trying to get through all of them now. I've only played select titles. I think as of recording this, I will have pretty much beat the first remaster, or I'm close. I had never beaten it before, actually, but I'm getting close on that. I mean, it's on the Let's Play channel, so check that out if you're interested. I've played through, obviously, the fourth game, the fifth game, the sixth game, and bits and pieces of other stuff, and I'm getting into the remakes now, too. So for me, I was always more of a fan of the third-person survival horror aspect of this. 7 actually was a little off-putting to me because of going this totally new direction, but I do want to play through that whole thing eventually, and I'm totally admitting this because I'm not an authority on Resident Evil's new first-person direction. I'm interested in it. It seems odd to me, and it looks like they're ending Chris Redfield's story. I could be wrong, but they say that this is the end of his story. So I'm not sure if that's happening, if they can stay away from him, but maybe they're starting to transition away from some of the classic characters like Chris, and maybe eventually Jill and Leon will kind of be on their way out the door. I wouldn't be surprised after this if we get like another Jill and Leon game maybe, and they kind of tie those characters up, move on to something else. This was, again, very vibing with 8 mixed with 4. Like, the village aspects to this reminded me a lot of Resident Evil 4, but in first-person modern graphics with Chris Redfield. I'm not sure what to expect here, but I am excited for sure, even if I don't personally get to it right away, and I'm sure I won't. I also do want to mention Marvel's Spider-Man. The reason I didn't put this earlier was because I talked about it a ton in its own video. It looks fantastic. What more is there to say? I mean, it's Miles Morales now. The marketing on this thing is weird, though, to me. I'm not really sure what they're going for, because first they said, oh, it's an expansion of the original game, which to me meant like, oh, it's a DLC expansion, like an expansion pack or like an extended expansion. Now they're calling it a standalone game, so it looks like it's a full game now, but at the same time, it's like a midquel, so it's like between 1 and what they're probably going to do for 2, which will either be a Peter Parker game, I'm thinking, or a mixture of the two, which is what I'm hoping for. But right now, we're just getting a Miles Morales standalone experience, whatever that will be. It looks fun, so I think that if this is handled well, this is going to be a fantastic way to expand that universe, and I'm hoping that it's the first way to do so. I hope we see more games in that Spider-Man Marvel universe, and that maybe eventually we see some other heroes show up too. The last thing I want to talk about is the Horizon Zero Dawn, I was going to say expansion, sequel, Horizon Forbidden West. This looks very cool. Now, I'm sure most people watching this, if you like Sony PlayStation all, you've at least dabbled in Horizon Zero Dawn. Very beautiful game, massive scope, very interesting with Aloy, the main character, and just sort of this vibrant nature setting mixing in technology with primal tribalism, warrior vibes. Vibes is my word of the day, by the way, so keep that in mind. This is going to be fun. That's all there is to say about it. They already proved themselves on Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh, and before actually, the last game I have to mention is Gran Turismo 7. A lot of you might not be into racing games. This looks fantastic. This is like photorealistic at this point. And fun fact about Young Jay that no one's going to care about. The first game I ever owned in my life was Gran Turismo 3. My dad bought me my PlayStation 2. It came with Gran Turismo 3 packaged in. This was the old fat PlayStation 2, which eventually broke. But That was amazing. And I remember in the car, I loved the racing game, but I cried because I also wanted Star Wars Starfighter. And my dad got really pissed off and went back in and bought it for me and came out. And I think he realized how entitled his brat kid actually was during that moment. But for some reason, he gave in. So thanks, Dad. Appreciate you. Sorry for the trauma I instilled upon you going forward. You dealt with a lot. But this game, gonna be cool. Definitely have some nostalgic ties to it. I'm looking forward to it. Overall, I'm impressed with a lot of what we saw, but parts of it to me were a little underwhelming. And some of this might be expectations I and others built up for ourselves, because there was a lot of hype and rumors going around about certain things being here that weren't. Like, a lot of people had talked about a Metal Gear reveal of some kind at this event, which looked to be some kind of remake or reworking of the original game in the Fox engine. That's what I had personally heard before going into this. However, I didn't spread it around on Twitter or anywhere else because I was like, Konami making games? Pfft, yeah, right, whatever. When's that gonna happen? But I also had heard about a possible new Silent Hill game, which had more weight behind it, because they had actually, Konami had said that they're not done with the Silent Hill franchise, that they want to do more with it, which again, Konami make games, insane concept. So I was surprised thinking about that, and it didn't happen. Neither of them happened. Long story short, that was disappointing. There were other things here that were expected to. I talked to one of my friends, and he had heard a lot of stuff about them possibly doing a new Resistance project at this event. And there were all the people that were really hyped up to see Batman here. I knew it wouldn't be here. That's why I didn't say it would be here. That's why I didn't push anything that it would possibly be here, because it really wouldn't have fit this event, in my opinion. It didn't make any sense. I would more expect that at the DC event in the near future, but at this point, I don't even have my fingers crossed for that. I kind of don't care anymore. If it comes out, I'm sure I will still buy it and enjoy it and talk about it, but I don't really care about hyping up this thing that the company clearly doesn't care about marketing to consumers or talking about. This isn't DEF CON 5. I don't care. So, I don't know. This is kind of my thoughts on this event. I really am also, though, wondering why they didn't reveal the price for the PS5. Like, why wasn't that revealed at the event? Especially if it's coming out in holiday 2020, which is a pretty broad range of over a whole month. I don't know. That was a weird choice. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. What do you think about the new PlayStation plans going forward? Did I not talk about anything that you would have wanted me to cover because there were more games and I didn't want to do an hour show myself? What are your thoughts here? What are you thinking? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this. Leave a dislike if you didn't like it. That's fine. Hey, it's a free country and a free world. And be sure to check out the new Let's Play channel in the description below, where we're playing through all kinds of games, hanging out, having a good time with you, the good people of planet Earth. See you in the next one. Have a fantastic day and stay awesome.